It is 7 minutes to 7. The Prime Minister has ordered a review of what are known as low traffic neighbourhoods in England. They've been set up in Bristol, Birmingham, Bournemouth and London, among others, in recent years. Rachel Aldred is Professor of Transport at Westminster University. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
A low traffic neighbourhood, what exactly is it?
So basically, it's an area-wide traffic management measure that seeks to reduce or remove through motor traffic within a set of residential streets. So basically, it's not full pedestrianisation. People can still drive to any address, but you can't cut through from one side to another. So the aim is to reduce motor traffic in those streets.
Do they work?
So our research has been carried out in London so far, and it suggests that, yes, they do increase walking and cycling. They do tend to reduce car ownership and or use. We've also seen improvements in road injury rates and also reductions in street crime so far.
On the specifics of measuring how they work, you talked there about something that would be seen as uncontroversial, obviously trying to reduce the number of accidents on the roads. As far as access is concerned, though, that's more contentious, isn't it? Where drivers ultimately are allowed to drive or can drive conveniently without having to go all the way around the block.
Yeah, and I think it's important to recognise that in traffic planning, traffic management studies, the most effective interventions tend to comprise what we call sticks as well as carrots. So you make driving a bit harder, you make alternatives like walking, cycling and public transport a bit easier, and that's more effective. And it's also often the only thing you can do in congested urban areas where you can't easily make more space for walking, cycling, buses and so on, without also to some extent restricting what people can do when driving. But I think it's important to recognise that low traffic neighbourhoods are not pedestrianisation. You can still reach any address, the aim is, by motor vehicle.
You looked into this. The University of Westminster's Active Travel Academy looked into this. Critics said that you looked at 46 out of 96 schemes in total. So I wonder how confident we can be in your conclusion that they do seem to broadly work.
So this is a review that we conducted of local authority monitoring data across London. We would have loved to include more. I mean, there are certainly issues in terms of reporting and monitoring and so on. So we included as many as we could. I think the fact that we could include nearly 50 I was quite pleased about that. Obviously, it would have been good to include more, but some local authorities like Tower Hamlets, for example, did not produce any monitoring reports at all. So we do have quite a lot to look across. Obviously, more data is always needed, more research is always needed.
A final thought on the broader politics of the car, if you like, because it's suddenly becoming quite a big deal, isn't it? There's the argument over when to phase out petrol and diesel. The Guardian reporting this morning, ministers considering restrictions on councils' ability to impose 20-mile-an-hour speed limits in England. There's a real tussle on at the moment around who is seen to be on the side of the motorist or the pedestrian and the nature and state of our city's streets.
Yes, and I think it's kind of unfortunate for it to be portrayed as some kind of, there's the side, there's a motorist side, there's a pedestrian side, because, there's quite wide agreement that we do need to create better conditions in our cities. We need to improve things for walking and cycling. We need to improve public transport, and we need to provide people with alternatives so they don't have to use their cars so much. Driving is not fun. Exactly, and those need to be discussed, I think, honestly and with nuance.
Thank you. Professor Rachel Aldred there, Professor of Transport at Westminster University.
3 minutes to 7 to the weather in Louise Lear. Morning, Louise.
Good morning, Justin. Where has summer gone? That is the question we're asking ourselves.